Imagine you're a field mouse. It's midnight. You're buried under 3 feet of snow, completely hidden from the world above. You think you're safe. You're not. Because somewhere in the darkness above you, an owl just locked on to the sound of your heartbeat from 75 feet away. And in 2.3 seconds, it will be over. Owls are not just birds. They are the most perfectly engineered killing machines nature has ever produced. And today, we are going inside the science, the mystery, and the terrifying reality of what owls truly are. Stay until the end, because the last species we cover will genuinely disturb you. Every other bird of prey has a problem. When they fly, they're loud. The rush of air over their wings creates turbulence, and turbulence creates sound. Their prey hears them coming. Owls solved this millions of years ago, and the solution is in their feathers. Look closely at an owl's primary feathers. The leading edge, the front edge, has a comb-like structure called a fluted vein. This breaks up the airflow before it even reaches the wing surface, eliminating the turbulence that causes noise. The trailing edge of the feather is soft and fringed, like velvet, which absorbs any remaining sound waves before they escape. The result? A flying owl produces less than 0 decibels of detectable noise at 30 feet. For comparison, a whispered conversation is 30 decibels. A rustling leaf is 20 decibels. An owl in full flight dive is acoustically invisible. No animal on Earth has ever evolved a more effective sound suppression system for flight. Not bats, not dragonflies. Nothing. And they were just getting started. Here is something that should not be possible. Owls can rotate their heads 270 degrees. That is 3/4 of a full circle in either direction. If a human tried to do this, every blood vessel in your neck would tear. Your brain would be cut off from its blood supply within seconds. You would die. So why don't owls? For years, scientists didn't have an answer. Then in 2013, a team at Johns Hopkins University finally cracked it. Owls have 14 neck vertebrae. Humans have 7. More flexibility, more range. But the real trick is in the blood vessels themselves. Owl arteries actually get wider as they move up toward the head, the exact opposite of how human arteries work. This creates a reservoir of blood that keeps flowing to the brain even when the vessels are twisted or compressed. On top of that, owls have small cushioning holes in their vertebrae that give their arteries slack, like extra slack in a cable, so they don't snap under tension. Now you might be wondering, why? Why do they need to spin their heads like this? Because their eyes can't move. Owls have the most extreme eyes in the animal kingdom. While most creatures have round eyeballs, an owl's eyes are not spheres. They are tubes, fixed cylindrical structures locked inside the skull. They literally cannot move their eyes in their sockets. At all. That's why they spin their heads. It's the only way to change their field of view. But this rigid design gave owl eyes something extraordinary in return: size and depth. An owl's eyes take up nearly 70% of its skull volume. In a human body scaled to owl proportions, our eyes would be the size of grapefruits. And inside those massive eyes are roughly 1 million light-sensitive cells called rods, compared to about 200,000 in a human eye. That's 5 times more. Some species have even more than that. This means an owl can see clearly in conditions 100 times darker than a human can function in. But here's where it gets even more remarkable. Owls can also see in ultraviolet light. This lets them follow urine trails left by voles and mice, trails that are invisible to every other predator in the forest. They don't just see in the dark. They see things in the dark that don't even exist to other animals. In 1962, scientist Roger Pan ran an experiment that shocked the biology world. He placed a barn owl in a completely dark room, 0 light, 0, not dim, not slightly dark, completely pitch black. Then he released a live mouse. The owl caught it, every single time, not using heat, not using smell, using only sound. Here's why that's possible. Most owls have asymmetrical ears. The left ear sits higher on the skull than the right ear. This is not a random quirk. It is a precisely engineered triangulation system. When a sound reaches the owl, it hits both ears at slightly different times and slightly different intensities. The owl's brain processes these tiny differences in real time and calculates the exact 3-dimensional location of the source, including its height, to within 1 to 2 degrees of accuracy. That is the equivalent of a human GPS, but built into a bird's skull. The great gray owl pushes this even further. It can hear a vole tunneling through 60 centimeters of solid snow. It dives, punches through the crust with its feet, and comes up with its prey. No sight, no smell. Pure acoustic precision. Think about what you just heard. An animal evolved sonar so precise it rivals military technology, and it did it using nothing but bone, feather, and neural architecture. Nature didn't make owls. Nature engineered them. For as long as humans have existed, owls have haunted us. In ancient Greece, the little owl was the sacred companion of Athena, goddess of wisdom. Athenian soldiers believed that if an owl flew over their army before battle, victory was guaranteed. The owl appeared on Greek coins, a symbol of intelligence and divine favor. In ancient Rome, the story flipped entirely. Owls were omens of catastrophe. Roman historians recorded that the deaths of Julius Caesar, Augustus, and Agrippa were all preceded by the call of an owl. Whether true or not, the Roman Empire was genuinely terrified of them. Across many cultures in sub-Saharan Africa, owls are deeply connected to death, sorcery, and spirit communication. In parts of Nigeria, seeing or hearing an owl near your home at night is considered a warning, a message from the spirit world that someone close to you may soon die. Among some Native American traditions, owls served as messengers between the living and the dead, guardians of secret knowledge that only the spirit realm possessed. Is it any wonder? A creature that appears from nowhere in the dark, silent as a ghost, watching you with enormous glowing eyes. Every culture on Earth noticed, and none of them forgot. There are over 200 species of owl on Earth, and some of them are genuinely hard to believe. Astrift owl, found in the American Southwest, is smaller than a golf ball. It weighs less than an AA battery, and yet it still hunts scorpions. It clips off the stinger first before eating. A tiny bird with a survival strategy that took millions of years to perfect. Asterisk the Blakiston's fish owl, native to Russia and Japan, is the largest owl alive today, with a wingspan of nearly 6 feet. It wades into rivers in freezing temperatures to catch fish with its bare talons. It is so rare, so elusive, that sighting one is considered a once-in-a-lifetime event for wildlife photographers. And then there is the asterisk burrowing owl, a species that abandoned trees altogether. It lives underground in burrows stolen from prairie dogs and tortoises. It decorates the entrance of its burrow with animal dung, which attracts dung beetles, which become food. This owl invented agriculture. For itself, owls have been here for 60 million years. Long before humans walked this earth, before civilizations rose and fell, owls were hunting in the dark, perfecting their silence, watching the world from above. They don't need us to know they're there. That's the point. The next time you hear that sound in the darkness, that low, resonant call, remember what you learned today. Something with perfect hearing, perfect vision, and perfect silence just turned its head 270 degrees and looked directly at you. If this video gave you a new respect for owls, or just creeped you out a little, hit that subscribe button. We drop new wildlife deep dives every week, and trust me, the next one is even wilder. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.